As I have stated many times throughout this year, 2023 is holding some tremendous boxing cards. It is probably one of the single best years in the sport of boxing in recent memory, with everything that has come to light, everything that we have been able to enjoy thus far. And such is the case, it will continue this Saturday, August 12th, on Showtime, where they will have a fight card for the IBF Bantamweight World Championship as a main event. That will be Manny Rodriguez taking on Melvin Lopez, and an undercard that will feature the return of Gary Antoine Russell versus Kent Cruz. Let's talk about this card a little bit, because there is more than meets the eye with this particular card. Beginning with the main event, Emmanuel Rodriguez is a fighter who has campaigned in the bantamweight division and had some very stellar success until he ran across the monster, Naoya Inoue, in May of 2019. And in that fight, he lost to Inoue by second round KO. Prior to that, he had enjoyed success over the likes of Jason Maloney, Paul Butler, Giovanni Delgado Morales. You see, Monster has swept through boxing as a force of nature, and some of the mere mortals of the sport have succumbed to him. But let's not rule out the fact that Rodriguez is still top of the notch when it comes to boxing. Fighting out of Puerto Rico, he's 31 years of age. He stands 5'6" with a 66.5-inch reach. His current record is 21-2 with 13 KOs. Out of the 2 losses, only one by stoppage, and that was to the Monster. He followed the fight against Inoue in December of 2019, and he lost a split decision to Raymart Gaballo. And we've seen Gaballo, who has gone on and had some success after that, but also ran into some problems himself in the aftermath, because Gaballo ended up losing to Nonito Donaire, and that was in December of 2021. That was a 4th round KO where Donaire won that WBC bantamweight title from Raymart. So that bantamweight division, and now the Monster has moved on up to super bantam, has seen a lot of action down there. And so on this night, the 12th of August, we're going to see Melvin Lopez challenge Manny, and he fights out of Nicaragua. He's 25 years of age. His nickname is Mello, and he's 5'6" with a 68-inch reach. But he's 29-1 with 19 KOs. He was stopped himself inside the distance by Jose Velasquez and that was in October of 2019, a 9th round KO for the WBO International Bantamweight title at the time. This fight could turn out to be a barn burner because both men, though they don't have huge KOs on their records, they are punchers. They are men who will stand in the pocket and go at it. And with Melvin Lopez being only 25 and Manny being 31, we'll have to see if Melo will try to extend things and wear the elder Rodriguez down. This is going to be an interesting fight. Now, there are tons of people that don't really like to watch the little guys, but that is where you will see what can happen. Now, Rodriguez also fought in his last fight, October of 2022. He had a technical decision win over Gary Antonio Russell. So both men fought in the later quarter of last year. A split decision win for Lopez over a gentleman by the name of Gilbert Alvarez. Here we are, and we'll find out whether or not the two will measure up. Now, their world ratings are Rodriguez at number 2, and they have Lopez at 69, according to BoxRec. But I'm not certain if that will mean much once the bell rings. Sometimes when you have these bantamweights and a guy is hungry, you will see things that you weren't expecting to see. But also, let's remember, the card is very important. As I mentioned earlier, Gary Antoine Russell is returning to the ring, and he's going to take on Kent Cruz. Now, Gary is of the famous Russell family, and he's a southpaw. He stands 5'10" with a 69-inch reach, and he is looking to get back into action after a pretty long layoff. He last fought in July of 2022 when he took on Rances Bartholomew, and he stopped Bartholomew inside the distance in a 6-round fight. That was at the Barclays. His record is currently 16-0 with 16 knockouts. And his victory before that was over Victor Postol. And that was in February of 2022, where he stopped Postol in the 10th round. Many people felt like Postol might have made it to the distance, but the referee stepped in and warded that fight off. But Antoine is looking to really show up and show out. He had been inactive since then, and he wants to make a splash. There's a lot being stirred up in his weight class, which is the super lightweight division. And if he can get out there and get going against Mr. Cruz, he will definitely have an impression on people coming, in this second half of the year of 2023. Interestingly, his opponent, Kent Cruz, who is 16-0 with 3 draws and 10 KOs. He's an orthodox fighter who's 5'10" with a 71.5-inch reach. Now, Kent is a fighter that a lot of people don't know much about. These draws are a mystery. He had 2 in a row against Enrico Gogokia, and those fights were fought in Vegas and Minneapolis last year. The first fight between them, in February 2022, split decision draw. The rematch in November of 2022, a majority decision draw. Both were 8-round fights. So this fight is scheduled for 10 rounds. And he's going to have to get in there and show Antoine what he's working with. It's going to be an interesting card. We're seeing fighters who haven't been in the ring for a while come out and start battling it out all over again. One fighter in particular that we hadn't seen in a while, also on this card, but not knowing if he will make the broadcast. The return of Marcus Brown. Yes, that Marcus Brown, who we hadn't seen since December of 2021 when he lost a 9th round KO to Artur Beterbiev. Now he's since bounced back with the opportunity on this night to face Adrian Taylor. But is Brown really ready? He's a southpaw. Stands 6'1.5" with a 75.5-inch reach. And this Adrian Taylor, who he's facing, is 13-1-1 with 5 KOs. He's fighting out of Dallas, Texas. He's an orthodox fighter who's 6 foot tall. He only has 5 KOs in his 13 wins. So this looks like it could be a showcase for Marcus, unless Texas happens to represent. Another curious thing about Brown is he had signed up to be trained by Derek James going into the Artur Beterbiev fight. And due to the inactivity, and now Derek James working with several of the top fighters in boxing of today, maybe Brown decided to go a different direction, or James just told him that they might need to part ways. Either way, the long inactive period for Brown could play a role in hurting him. At this particular time, I wasn't able to find out what his age is, but having not fought since December of 2021, he's another one of those fighters that we just don't know what's going on. Inactivity kills fighters, people, and that's the kind of thing that you really can't make too much of a judgment until you see these guys get in the ring. This fight will be fought at MGM National Harbor, Oxon Hill, Maryland. And it's going to be broadcast, as I said, on Showtime. This could be a card that flies under the radar and turns out to be a top-notch entertainment for an evening of boxing. A lot of people are not talking about these guys, but I thought I would come out and mention this. It's very important that we talk about the fighters that need to get coverage. So much is being said about certain individuals on a continuous basis. It makes it seem like there's nothing happening in boxing. But as I've always indicated, boxing is a fruitful sport, and there's often a lot to take in at many different occasions. But if you don't have people who can share this information with you, then you may not be in the loop of understanding that there's always something going down. I think this card is worth tuning in, and if the Brown fight makes the air, that'll be great. Typically, Showtime will show 2 fights Every once in a while, 3. So let's hope that we get a chance to see Marcus Brown in his return. Also on that undercard are, in different bouts, Jose Benavidez Jr. and Jesse Hart. 2 names that we haven't seen or heard from in quite a while. Again, this is the kind of thing that I talk about when I say when you don't see the fighters that you would like to see or know what's happening with them. Now, Hart has been out of the ring since December of 2021 as well, when he took on David Murray and he had a 3rd round TKO victory over Murray. And we remember when he lost a split decision to Joe Smith Jr. going all the way back to January of 2020. So he's been out of the ring for a while. I'm sure there'll be ring rust. He's 6'3" with a 77.5-inch reach. His record is 28-3 with 22 KOs. So will Hart show up and show out? Who knows? Will he make the air? We don't know. But again, just talking about what's on that card for the night. And as I said, Jose Benavidez Jr. is returning, and we know he, being the brother of David Benavidez, we know that he's getting good work in that gym over there. His record is currently 27-2 with 1 draw, 18 KOs. And he's got to make that decision on what he's doing. This is going to be a fight in the super welterweight division for and he's taking on Sladan Janjanin. And that gentleman hails from Bosnia. He has a record of 36-15 with 25 KOs, 10 losses by KO. So this is definitely a match that is being set up for Benavidez to get back in the winning column. We know that the last time Benavidez fought, he didn't fare very well when he was in there against Danny Garcia. He lost a majority decision, 12-round decision to Danny. And that was in July of 2022. So there you have it, people. There's some big-time boxing on Showtime. Even for the fights that don't make the air broadcast, you may want to take a look at the win and loss columns, because some of these fighters that we haven't seen in a while are returning, and you just may want to be able to keep up with what's happening with them. Are you going to tune in? It may be worth your while. This is Stormy B-Man. Shout out to the mighty LDBC and Liberated Perspective, a third eye view of the world. For more content such as this, please like, comment, subscribe, and share. Let me know what your thoughts are about this card coming up this Saturday on Showtime. I love the fact that boxing is really picking things up even as the year is going out. Peace to everyone out there, and everyone please remain safe.